Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 10.
These are not the actions of a man. They are crimes of a monster instead.
We begin with breaking news tonight. The United States took military action tonight against Syria.
It was in response to a suspected chemical weapons attack on civilians. Mola Lenghi is at the White House with the very latest.
President Trump ordered airstrikes on targets inside Syria Friday night.
A combined operation with the armed forces of France and the United Kingdom is now underway.
The move was in response to last weekend's chemical weapons attack in the rebel-held town of Douma.
Clearly, the Assad regime did not get the message last year. This time, our allies and we have struck harder.
The targets that were struck and destroyed were specifically associated with the Syrian regime's chemical weapons program.
From the start, the U.S., the U.K., and France suspected the regime of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad was to blame.
It is not about regime change. It is about a limited and targeted strike that does not further escalate tensions in the region.
The purpose of our actions tonight is to establish a strong deterrent against the production, spread, and use of chemical weapons.
The Kremlin cautioned the White House against taking military action. Russia vowed to stand by Syria and warned that the situation could escalate. Hours before the airstrike, a final attempt at diplomacy at the UN went nowhere.
Russia was supposed to guarantee that Assad wouldn't use chemical weapons, and Russia did the opposite.
In reply, the Russian ambassador accused the U.S. of threatening to unleash chaos in the Middle East. Mola Lenghi, CBS News, the White House.
In a statement issued after the airstrikes, the Russian ambassador to the United Nations said, quote, "We warn that such actions will not be left without consequences. All responsibility for them rests with Washington, London, and Paris."
Also, breaking news tonight out of Breckenridge, Minnesota. We're learning that the death of a 3-year-old boy is now being investigated as a homicide. The Ramsey County Medical Examiner's Office has determined the boy's death was due to blunt force trauma. On Tuesday, the Breckenridge Police Department responded to a 911 call at the Park Manor Apartments for a 3-year-old child not breathing. Rescue crews tried CPR but could not resuscitate the child. Authorities say the child's father and girlfriend, who live at the same residence, are cooperating with investigators as they try to figure out exactly what happened. No one has been arrested in this case yet, but the boy's father was taken into custody on an unrelated warrant. The investigation is still ongoing, so stick with Valley News Live on this developing story. This news follows the death of a 6-year-old, Justice Ray Berland, earlier this week out of Fergus Falls, Minnesota. Bobby Bishop and Walter Winhoff are being held on murder charges in relation to that little boy's death.
A big snowstorm is pummeling states around us. Southwest Minnesota, most of South Dakota, getting hammered by gusty winds and heavy snow. We're not expecting the big stuff around here, but it will sure impact anyone planning to drive to the Twin Cities or across the South Dakota border. Let's find out from Hutch the very latest on this storm's impact. Hutch?
Well, as you can see by our Skycam network view here over the FM area, fairly quiet conditions, minus the winds out there. It's certainly cool and cloudy. Snow showing up on the radar, but not all of this is reaching the ground. Radars do point up at an angle, and they're seeing snowflakes in the clouds, but the lower surface kind of dry. Southern Otter Tail County and the southeast parts of North Dakota, a few flakes are indeed flying. Minneapolis getting hit the hardest with some very heavy bands of snow passing through that area right now. And all day it has been snowing from central parts of South Dakota and now shifting into eastern South Dakota as we head through the overnight. Gusts were approaching 40 miles per hour throughout the afternoon. That's going to continue. It will be quite breezy, and our best chance at seeing any accumulating snow at all will be south of Interstate 94. Here in the southern Red River Valley, where we could have an inch or two on the ground by your Saturday morning. Remember, blizzard warnings continue for many areas of southwest portions of Minnesota. Your hour-by-hour forecast will walk through the rest of our weekend here in just a moment.
All right, thanks, Hutch.
One person was taken to the hospital after a pot left on the stove caused smoke to fill their West Fargo apartment. Fire crews were called out to the complex in the 3400 block of 5th Street West. Officials say there was heavy smoke throughout the building. They found a 33-year-old man unconscious on the couch with food burning on the stove. Firefighters got him out and put out the fire quickly. The man was treated for smoke inhalation.
A group of NDSU students was at the right place at the right time. The five came to the rescue of two people whose car had flipped on a stretch of highway northwest of Casper, Wyoming. We spoke with the students who say they helped the driver and passenger with blankets and water until first responders arrived.
I think we did everything that we could to the best of our abilities there. So I don't think there's anything we could have done better.
It all happened so fast, kind of, it was natural to, obviously stop and assist these people.
Eventually, a helicopter arrived to help transport the driver and passenger who were injured.
In Boy Scouts, we have the saying, do a good turn daily. I just thought of it as I'm doing something good to help somebody else in the community. Even if I don't know them, it's great to help them out. And I'm sure that's a similar feeling that a lot of us shared.
No word on the severity of the injuries in the crash. The five students were on their way back from a class trip. Interestingly enough, all five tell us that they plan on pursuing careers where they can help others.
The Minnesota State Patrol is making a push to encourage women to join its ranks. There are currently 52 women in the State Patrol. That's out of between 600 and 650 patrol officers. In order to give people a better idea of what it's all about, the State Patrol is hosting an informational session at its facility in Golden Valley, Minnesota. Women can learn what the job is about and practice the physical training test. But most importantly, they'll be able to hear directly from female state troopers. A second session will be held tomorrow.
Strong wind gusts of up to 30 miles an hour locally have once again brought down the sports bubble in Fargo. Owner Jerry Novacek says he's not sure about the damage estimate, but it's going to take about 10 to 12 weeks to order a new roof and turf for inside the complex. He says he hopes to have it back up and running sometime this summer.
Parents who worry about their kids getting head injuries in football will want to know about a new form of the game that's coming to Fargo. It's said to be safer and reduces injuries.
Up next, a Michigan meteorologist has had it with the reaction he's been getting about the weather.